Welcome back to a practice report here on Locked On Cougars. I'm Jake Hatch, your host here on your daily podcast, focused on all things BYU sports, live at the Zions Bank practice fields here outside the Student Athlete Building in Provo, Utah. And it's time to let you guys hear from Roderick. He obviously spoke to the media on Wednesdays, is when the offensive coaches and players speak to the media. Had a lot of good thoughts on what he expects from BYU in the season opener. I heard him talk about Sean Walker messing around over here, but the bigger... Yeah, royalties, yes. Well, we'll get to your royalties in a minute here. Sean Walker from KSL.com having fun in the background here. But the bigger point is that Roderick had a lot of good things to say about what he expects from the season opener, Bachmeier. And I also asked him the question. Jay Hill talked about yesterday how he plans to approach subbing into this game. And you're going to hear A-Rod giving a very interesting answer to that question. He also addresses the offensive line, Waylon Lapuaho's availability, and a whole lot more. So without further ado, here you go, BYU offensive coordinator Roderick.
Well, how's it feel to actually have a game on the horizon?
Feels good, yeah. It's just, get tired of playing against your own team. You know, everybody says that, but it's a real thing. It's going to be nice to play against somebody else.
Bear obviously installed now as a starter. How is he progressing?
Good. He's had a really good week and had a great day today. I thought he had an excellent practice today. We did some crossover work against our defense, and then we also did some scout team work, and he was very sharp, and then he did a nice job in our 2-minute drill at the end.
As the offense has come together out of fall camp, what do you see emerging as the strength of this year's unit?
Well, just we have a couple of veteran players that are really good players. You know, L.J. Martin, Chase Roberts, a few of those old linemen that have played a lot of ball. You know, Austin Leosa's played a lot of football, and I'm going to forget somebody, but the main thing is just those veteran players leading the way, and so we can get good execution around a freshman quarterback.
Have you communicated to those guys that they need to kind of help Bear through some of the what you expect to probably be some tough times at some point?
Well, we just talk about everybody do your 1/11th. You know, that's a saying in this program. Just do your job on that play, and if we get 10 guys doing their job, then it makes the quarterback's job a lot easier. And so that's really all we're focusing on is just you don't need to do anything special. Just do what you're supposed to do each play and do it the way you're coached.
We talked to Jay yesterday and asked him how he plans on approaching this game. FCS games usually can get out of hand, you get more guys into the game. How will you approach that with a guy like Bear, trying to get him reps versus not letting the game get out of hand?
I don't even want to think about that because every time I've been involved with making some kind of plan like that, then the game doesn't go as you expected. So we want to go out and we're going to treat every opponent the same. We'll go out there and take care of business, and if something like that happens, then we'll deal with it when it comes.
Have you settled on your offensive line yet?
Well, yes. I mean, we have 6 or 7 guys that I think I would consider starters. You know, and depends on health and stuff who's playing where on Saturday. But we have, yeah.
As far as running back depth goes, L.J. Martin, Sione Moa, has anyone emerged in that running back group, and how do you feel about the depth?
Joe Vessa and Preston Rex are both going to play as well. Those guys are right behind those two and doing a lot of good things.
You mentioned on Monday on the coordinator's corner that Waylon might be held out this week. Is that a long-term concern, or is it just you're trying to make sure he's 100%?
Not a long-term concern. Just he's a little beat up. So that's when you ask me about the starting O-line. Waylon's he's coming along, but we're going to be really smart with him because he's a proven player. He's a really good football player, and we want to make sure he's completely right before we get into Big 12 play.
How hard is it to have those conversations with a player of that caliber, great player, to tell him that he's getting sick?
Yeah, I mean, great players want to play, but it's not hard. It's just part of the job. We have to have tough conversations with guys all the time, and it's part of the deal.
We've talked so much with Bear about how impressive it was for him to be able to pick up a playbook the way he did in such a short amount of time. Sometimes it's easy to forget that Tigers did the same thing at almost the exact same time. Just how impressive have you been with his transition here and earning a spot on the 2D?
Yeah, similar to Bear. I mean, Tiger's a pretty smart guy. He graduated from Stanford in 2.5 years with a 4.0 in computer science. So our playbook, I think, was pretty easy compared to that. So.
You've had a couple years now with the coach-to-player headset integration in their helmets. How beneficial is that starting a freshman quarterback to be able to communicate with him like that?
Great question. That's huge, and I think this year we've refined our system a little bit, so I think we can communicate even better this year than we did last year. We've made a few tweaks to some of our terminology so that we can, be able to talk more before we snap the football. And, I'm not going to be telling him what to do every play. I don't want to fill his head with too many ideas, but definitely can give a couple reminders before you snap the ball.
You simplified play calls in that regard for him?
Well, it wasn't for him. It was actually for Jake. We streamlined our offense for Jake because we thought we were going to try to play as fast as we could this year and get more snaps. And it turned out to be, a blessing in disguise, though. It turned out to be beneficial for Bear because we trimmed down some of our verbiage.
There's Aaron Roderick, BYU offensive coordinator. Obviously, a lot of good thoughts from him on how he's going to approach getting Bear Bachmeier into the system, but very interesting also to hear him talk about the fact that they had simplified the play calling for Jake Retzloff, and it actually worked to their advantage in integrating a freshman quarterback who obviously wouldn't necessarily know, as maybe the bigger the play call, seems like it'd be more difficult for him to handle that. So, as you mentioned, a blessing in disguise that they actually put that into the system. But the real star of media availability today is the guy that, Sean Walker, here's your royalties coming up. He is dubbed the most interesting man in the world, with a certain brand that would like, I'm sure, to be involved with BYU athletics. And I'm telling you, the thing about Tiger Bachmeier, he truly may be the most interesting man in this football program. He's graduated from Stanford in 2.5 years with a computer science degree. He's got a pilot's license. Folks, he speaks Mandarin Chinese. I haven't had a chance to speak with him yet. At some point I will. We'll test that out. But very interesting comments from him, and just a unique personality that I think Cougar fans need to get to know, because I think he's going to play a bigger role than many might expect going into the season, obviously with his brother as the quarterback for the BYU football program. So here you go. Here is Tiger Bachmeier's thoughts after practice.
So Bear emerging as the starter, what advice have you given him? What's that been like with your brother?
Just stay humble. Whatever you've done now, put in a little bit more, just a little bit more with everything you're doing, and it's pretty simple advice, but I think you stick to it. He's already doing really well, and just gotta keep putting in a little bit more.
Do you think it helps him being a freshman the first year, just not really having the pretext of what college football is all about, to just jump right in there? Do you think that might ironically help him a bit?
There's something about being naive and not knowing anything when you're coming into the field, and I think he'll come in with fire, and I think that's something that's going to be apparent, and because of that. So.
This is your first year. How do you like the offense, first of all?
Yeah, first year.
I'm sure you probably picked it up pretty well, but you feel pretty comfortable now?
Yeah. No, I learned the offense really quick, and then there's one thing about learning offense and then really digesting an offense, and so I'm in that portion now where you're really honing in on the small details, and for Bear and myself, and like Reggie's a new player, know the offense, but really getting those small details, and that comes from listening to Coach Fessy and listening to Chase about small things, small details that pop up like once a season, and you just got to be ready for them, ready for those moments when they happen.
Do you have any surprises as far as the offense of what you thought it was going to be and now what it is? As far as passing or running a lot,
I love how much we stretch the field with our run game, how much we have extensions of the run game with our screens and our passes, and little dunk plays, backside RPOs, all of that to support the run game so we can suck up the defense, suck up the safeties, and then throw them over top with a double post or whatever.
With you and your brother transferring it around the same time and trying to pick up, he's probably got a little bit more of the playbook to learn, but still roughly learn. Did you guys go back and forth, quiz each other, kind of studied it out?
Yeah. The satirical answer is to say that I helped him with everything, but he was definitely giving me a lot of help with my end of everything, because there's some stuff with protections and in the run game that helps me out with my blocking on the perimeter, and stuff that I'm out there seeing as a receiver with the corners and the safeties that I can help him with, and then more hands on deck to learn the playbook like that. But we were definitely sending the scripts to each other and drawing up plays on the whiteboard together, coming into meetings, and just getting with the coaches, making those appointments.
Did getting that Stanford degree in a little over 2 years help you kind of pick it up real quick?
Yeah. It helped me. It didn't help Bear because he didn't get his,
Sure.
but yeah, I think it helped a little bit. We did pick it up pretty fast. I mean, fast enough to be out here
Computer
so
science,
quick.
right?
It's correct. Yeah, computer science.
Do you also speak Chinese?
I speak a little bit EDR. It's a little bit of Chinese, but we have 2 other people on the team who can speak. Cody Hagan. So we've kind of gone back and forth with some stuff, but it's actually really fun to be in the locker room and have other people to speak to with that. And I think part of the culture here is to have a lot of return missionaries who know different languages, and so that's all you hear in the locker room, and it's kind of cool. But language is a big part of my family. My little brother, he speaks Spanish, and we put him in a Spanish immersion school, and so at the age of 5, he was picking up stuff, and it's funny because we'll be at a Spanish restaurant and have him order entirely for us. So it's kind of funny because when we started to do that, he was 6 or 7 at the time, and to put him on the spot like that, it's kind of funny now looking back at it. But he's kind of grown into that, and he knows that when it's time to go out to eat, that he's going to be the front man for it. But I get the same thing at Chinese restaurants, so it's kind of funny.
What's his name?
My younger brother. So the story on that is my dad loves to call him Cougar, but I was kind of doing the math on that, and I'm trying to figure out. I think it was around like 1 or 2. My dad started calling him Cougar, but I think at his birth date, we gave him the nickname Buck. So.
Why think BYU fans would prefer Cougar?
Cougar, yeah, that's why I've been saying that. So Tiger, Bear, Cougar. But he commonly goes by Buck, but my dad kind of one-on-one, and it's really only him. I think it's kind of a special thing between them where he calls him Cougar. But I think it does make sense to give him that here.
Staying on the brother theme, how much has Hank inserted himself maybe into the conversation, tutoring you guys, giving advice? Is he kind of detached, or is he in? Or
Yeah. I'd like to give a little evidence to that by like pulling up my FaceTimes, and we do family FaceTime like every day for however long, and I know Bear and Hank are on their individual FaceTimes to go over film and go over whatnot. But especially at Stanford for myself, getting into the flow of things, Hank was always there to be someone who has done it before, and he was giving me a lot of advice there. And then getting to a new place, he went through the transfer process, so gave me advice there. He got up here for visits, was able to hone through a lot of the recruiting process, and he definitely helped with all of that, and I'm super grateful for that. Bear's super grateful for him. Being a quarterback probably gives Bear an upper leg in that sense, and yeah.
What are your expectations as far as punt returning responsibilities in week 1?
Yeah, I don't know if I get in there. Definitely make some plays. I think I'm really good at that. I'm really good with my feet and my hands and getting under the ball and making a first move. And so when I get the chance, I'm definitely gonna make something happen there.
Have they told you that you're going to get many reps in week 1 returning punts, or is that just kind of if it comes, it comes?
Nothing like a depth chart per se, but I'm definitely in the reps with the 1s and 2s there. So I'm not really sure how that works here or how it's worked in the past, because at Stanford I ended up going in like the 2nd or 3rd game there, but I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Yeah.
Tyler, what's been your impressions of just the overall interest in BYU football, like whether it's fans, students, just people that seem to really care about this place?
Yeah. I guess I'll take that time to just shout out Quinn. Today he was our True Blue hero, because that's something that the football program brings on, and it shows me that the position here is more than just a player on the team, and that I get to make a difference in somebody else's life, and I'm super grateful for that. And I think that being a part of the football team and being able to be put on a stage, just to make a difference in someone's life is all that I'd ever ask for. So I think that's something I'm super grateful for.
Lonnie talks a lot about the culture of this program.
Yeah, it's the best culture in college football.
Why is
hands
that?
down. Why is that? I would say look through the roster, look at the last names, see how many of the last names are exactly the same. and how many brothers, how many connections are on the team. I think we have 3 or 4 Kafusis, and that's a culture that you can't really create, but by it being here already and having already been built outside of BYU with the brotherhood there, and then bringing that brotherhood in and getting to connect with other teammates like that is something that I don't think other places are going to ever have, because it's not built in the 3 or 4 years you've been here. It's been built before you even got here.
Is there anything you're looking forward to as far as coming to the Big 12, like maybe sort of an away game or just anything?
Yeah, I lost to TCU last year, our first game, and so when we get a chance at them again, I'm definitely looking forward to that game. Colorado's always been on the list. Some good history with them, but there's a lot of good teams, a lot of good football, a lot of good quarterbacks, offenses, and a lot of unique defenses that I'm going to get to go up against. And I'm just super excited for that. Big 12 is a good conference. I love the logo.
The most interesting man in the world, indeed, obviously, Tiger Bachmeier. Interesting to see how he plays off of guys like Chase Roberts, JoJo Phillips, Parker Kingston. There's a lot to like about his game, and obviously, he is uber smart, and you can tell by the way he addresses the media. I've had so many conversations with people who have talked to him just in other conversations, said that he really is just a unique character when it comes to BYU sports. But that's going to do it for this practice report, live from the Zions Bank practice fields here at the Student Athlete Building on the campus of Brigham Young University. And as always, keep it right here on Locked On Cougars, as we are your original daily podcast focused on all things BYU football, basketball, and everything in between right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where, of course, it is your team every day.